ladies and gents, happy Monday. It's Miss Longest here. It looks like it's gonna be a beautiful week. I haven't actually checked the weather, but why not be optimistic? Thought I would give you guys a nice little rundown of what's going on this week, because I feel better when I feel like I've actually gotten to talk to you and explain what's happening. So, a couple things that are going on this week. If you want to, pull up your to-do list. I don't know if this is going to work at editing, but we're going to try. Pull up your to-do list that I posted on Canvas, and I'll just walk you through what's going on this week. So first things first, we're in social movements. So the civil rights movement is just one of many social movements that happen throughout history, but especially in the 60s and 70s. And just like the civil rights movement, something I want you guys to understand is that just because we're focusing on these movements when they happen in the 60s and 70s doesn't mean that's the only time that they're happening. A lot of these things are still happening today, just in a different way. And another thing is that I focused on 4 specific social movements for the activities we're doing, but there's so many other ones that are happening in this time that are really important. Though I just focused on the ones I focused on because unfortunately with e-learning, it's best for me to focus on things that I have materials I can give you very easily and you can easily access. And a lot of these movements I think are really awesome, and if we were in class, I would be talking to you about them. But I picked the ones that have a lot of either a lot of resources available or have some type of tie to something pop culturally that's going on today, or just is in the news, is still happening, especially recently. So the ones I focused on were the Black Panther Party movement, because there's lots of really interesting information and lots of cool people you can focus on. Also a lot of misinformation about the Black Panthers, so I thought some of you might be interested in researching that. The disability rights movement, I wanted to pick this one because there are a lot of cool stories that come out of this movement. And recently, Netflix has released a documentary called Crip Camp. It's actually produced by the Obamas. And looks like I can't fully endorse it because I haven't watched it yet, but with parent permission, if you guys want to watch it, it looks like it's really good. But I included the trailer because I think it does a good synopsis of what the disability rights movement was about in the 60s and 70s and what life was like before the Disability Act existed. And then I also included a video about the 504 sit-in, which is really interesting. There's lots of cool and funny videos about the 504 sit-in, but I can't endorse all of them. So if you want to do your own research, go for it. We're also talking about the ERA, which is the Equal Rights Amendment. So if you weren't familiar, the Equal Rights Amendment is essentially this amendment that has been thought to be put into the Constitution for many, many years that essentially says that women constitutionally should have the equal rights of men. And I know that might be surprising to some of you that that's not in the Constitution, but as times have changed, some people think it would be a more symbolic thing, some people think it's not necessary, some people don't want it to exist in the Constitution. There's lots of different arguments about it, but specifically in the 60s and 70s, we're going to focus on what's called second wave feminism, with people like Gloria Steinem and Betty Friedan, and their fight against Phyllis Schlafly, who is another prominent female figure in this time who doesn't want the Equal Rights Amendment to pass. So recently, a TV show called Mrs. America has been coming out on HBO, so if you have HBO, you maybe want to check it out, you can, but I included kind of a CBS news piece about combination of talking about the show and talking about the events that inspired the show, just because I think they do a really good job of talking about what the overall themes of these characters who are real people in the movement is. So that's one. So we talked Black Panther, Mrs. America, Crip Camp, and last one is the environmental rights movement. So if you guys don't know, Earth Day was 2 weeks ago. What is time? Earth Day was some time ago, and actually the first Earth Day happens in the 1970s. And The environmental rights movement is something that happens, again, all throughout history, but specifically I wanted to focus on when it happens in the 60s and 70s because we do have the first Earth Day. There's some prominent literature that comes out at this time that makes people really start to care about the Earth a little bit more, and there are some things that change that still affect us today. So I know a lot of you guys are like my green warriors out there, and I love that. So I thought that some of you guys might like to research where that all began. So those are the 4 movements we're focusing on. So let's move into task 1. I basically accidentally started talking about task 1 already, which is just watching EdPuzzles. I prefer you do this first because it will give you a little bit of background on the movements, and maybe will pique your interest about some that you didn't know about before. So please go and watch the EdPuzzles. There's 5 of them, but some of them are really short. So I took note of what you guys said in your feedback.
I'm sorry about the documentary. In my mind, I forget. I have an experience like I opened up that documentary and I watched it in like one sitting on like a rainy day without even thinking about it. And I was like, oh my gosh, this documentary is so good. And I still think it's so good, but I forget that one, like not everybody wants to sit and watch a documentary like I do. And also that we did have a really good take last week, and you know, you don't want to sit and like sit and watch it. My thought was you could watch it in bits and pieces, but I didn't realize when you guys like EdPuzzle doesn't let you put that, and sometimes it's funky. So my apologies. In my mind, you could just like do a little bit at a time, and that's just not what happened. So we're not gonna do documentary.
So I took your advice, and we're gonna do some EdPuzzles, but they're smaller and they're easier. So, and they should be a good balance of you watching the video and answering questions to stay engaged, but not like boom, boom, boom questions. Cool. So that's EdPuzzle for this week. Task 2. So once you've kind of gotten an idea of what the movements are, we're gonna play Ultimate Fighter Social Movements Edition. If you don't know what Ultimate Fighter is, actually, I don't even know if I know what Ultimate Fighter is.
I was right. I don't know what Ultimate Fighter is. I was thinking of the game Street Fighter. Ultimate Fighter is like actual fighting, but I already labeled all the documents and all the assignments, and I'm not going to change it, so deal with it. Sorry.
It sounded like something I knew. I think it's the video game where you like battle, so I should have done my research. Oh well. But either way, we're going head to head with our social movements, and here's how it's going to work. So there is full directions of this on Canvas, as well as a template that I have made. But what I want you to do is I want you to pick 2 social movements. And I disclaimed that you can pick either one of the 4 we talked about. And the 4 we talked about, there's a document on Blackboard that has some people listed and some like little background information. So you can pick one of those 4, but if you want to pick a different one, please do. Just contact me first just to make sure, because sometimes it can get confusing of are you researching like in the right time frame. But like we have Native American rights, we have immigrant rights, LGBTQ rights. So if you want to focus on any of those things or anything else you find that's happening in the 60s and 70s, please let me know. I'd be happy to let you do something else. These are, again, my resources are just limited, and I wish I could like give you resources for every single one of these movements, but we just don't have the time and the resources. So, but anyways, you're gonna pick 2 social movements, and you're gonna make 2 action cards for them. Now I've given you templates in Canvas that already have like all the sections off and already have all of the items you need to put on your action card. But if you want to make your own, like if you want to hand draw it, if I know some of you are so artsy-fartsy and creative, if you want to do something cool to make yours, please do. I would absolutely love it. But I know one of your feedback, some of you guys were like, I'm not a creative person. Stop making me try to be creative. So this way you can be creative but have a template, or you can be totally creative and start from scratch. But so you're gonna make 2 action cards, you're gonna pick 2 different movements, and on each action card you're gonna focus, kind of pick a person from that movement to be like the face of your action card, but your action card is just going to describe a couple things. Like you're gonna pick a song. It can either be a song from the movement, a lot of these movements have songs that come out of them, or it can be a song, like a modern day song, that you're just like, I feel like the lyrics to this really describe what these people were feeling. Great, go for it, as long as you give me a little brief description of why you picked that song. And then you're going to talk about the strengths and the weaknesses of the movement, and then you'll talk about the signature move. So like, what is this movement known for? So I used the example of if we were doing this for civil rights, which is the one you can't do because we did that for 2 weeks. But if we were doing civil rights, you could do Martin Luther King. You could do a bunch of different people. Maybe your signature move is the March on Washington. You know, so that's just an example. So you're gonna make 2 of those, and you'll submit them on Canvas. And then you will have a discussion board where you will put your fighters to the test. So pick one of the people that you looked into. We're going to pretend like all these social movement figures are coming before Congress, which is me, and are fighting it out to get their cause heard by Congress. Only one can win, and I want you to convince me that if this battle were actually happening, your person would be the one to get the point across. So what I want you to do is make an initial discussion board post where I want you to either like attach an image or a link to the card for the person you're talking about, and then just tell me why your person is like the best social movement star, why they're gonna get their point across, why their movement is successful, why their strategy works the best. Give me some evidence, tell me about some things they've done, and then after that, you guys are gonna fight it out. And so I want you guys to respond to each other's posts and talk about why you think your person would defeat so-and-so by commenting on their post. So I'll be, again, looking for your initial post and then how you communicate with each other. I want to see at least 2 responses. But yeah, and then at the end, I will see who I thought fought the hardest, had the best argument, and maybe send you a little prize. So I think that should be fun. Hope you guys think it's fun and creative. But I wanted to do something a little, I guess, lighter, but also makes you think a little bit. So, and the last thing, this is really cool. So I've been talking with Equal Justice Initiative, which is the group who produced the documentary that we watched and also produced the movie Just Mercy, if you've seen it, which is a really amazing movie. 10 out of 10 recommend watching that one. But I was talking with them and I asked if somebody who worked there could do a Zoom call with you guys, and they said yes. So on this Friday at 2 p.m., somebody with Equal Justice Initiative will be Zooming with us. I know it's a Friday, so technically I cannot require you to be there. But I will be giving a bonus to everybody who is in attendance. I'll be recording a call so that I can check that. Again, I can't force you to be there because it's a Friday and it's technically not one of our school days, but this is a really great opportunity. So if you're not doing anything, which I don't think a lot of you are, please be there. I think it'll be a really great experience. But everybody, even if you can't come to the call on Friday, I want you to submit questions, and then I'll be reading these questions before and using these to kind of proctor our conversation with this person. So what I want you guys to do is, if you don't already have questions from watching the documentary, go ahead and explore the website. They have lots of information about their museum and their memorial, lots of cool programs that they do. So just explore the website, proctor up some questions, and there's a really easy assignment on Canvas in the quiz tab where you're just going to submit those 3 questions. So that's really all that I have got for you guys today. On the questions, please submit them by Thursday so I have time to review them. You'll get points for that. As always, hang in there, you guys. I know a lot of you are stressed, and I know for me, I kind of hit my breaking point a little bit this past week. So, one, just be honest with yourself about your feelings and your frustrations. I think talking to people is really helpful. A lot of your classmates are going through the same thing, and I think we all feel a little bit of frustration and disappointment sometimes, and that's okay. So be honest with yourself, but also try to stay positive and find things to look forward to, and check in on each other. A lot of you guys say you miss each other. Why not reach out to someone? Hopefully we'll do some more Zoom calls and stuff soon, but if you do, you gotta come, okay? As always, if you need anything or have any questions, please let me know. It's great talking to you, and have a great week, you guys.